Welcome back to the shop. I've got some things just kicking around and I don't know what to do with them, and instead of trying to figure it out, I'm just going to go ahead and finish these projects and get them put away or put them back in use. In this particular case, I've got this is like a sheave. I forget the definition between a pulley and a sheave. I think a pulley is driven and a sheave is like an idler. Or no, sheave is driven. I have to look it up. I'll put it in if I can find the definition, I'll put it in there. But so this is for a flat pulley for a leather belt, and it's got a lot of rust on it. I think I'm going to clean it up. And I was watching Ben Mall's channel the other day, and he had some tools that were really far gone. And he was thinking, well, and 357 had an interesting comment. He says, well, what can you do to repurpose it? Anyway, they were sort of tossed around ideas to repurpose tools. In this particular case, there's nothing wrong with this. This could function as it were. But, you know, I could still use it in the meantime. I don't have any sawmills or anything big that I'm going to use this on. So I'm going to paint this. I'm going to clean it up, paint it, and use it as a cup holder either out here in the shop or in my office. So that'll be a quick cleanup. I've got this knife that somebody thought was a screwdriver and snapped the tip off of. I'm going to give it that Tantor, I forget the name of it, style tip on there. I haven't done anything like this before. This will be interesting, see how that works out. Other than that, it's a buck knife. It's worth fixing for sure, and it has a really nice sheath. I always carry a Leatherman. I really like this style tool. It's very handy, serves me well. I'm not brand loyal or anything, but this Leatherman has held up quite well. Before that, I carried this Gerber Crucial. This was a great knife. This is arguably one of my most favorite knives. However, it had a catastrophic flaw in the sense that the belt clip had little tiny, like 6/32 screws in it or something, and it just broke off. This knife has worked so well for so long. It's just one little weakness in the design, and I was unable to repair that. So that's sort of a shame, but and I probably like that better than the multi-tool. However, you know, one weak link makes it useless. So anyway, gonna get the knife done. Then I want to follow up too. Bill Lee worked in the foundry all his life, and in the foundry they would make sand molds, and in the sand molds where they would pour, watch Tubal Cain, Mr. Pete, he's got a lot of videos on that. I'm trying to think of who else does a lot of casting stuff. But anyway, if you watch anybody do any casting, you'll see that they'll pack it in the sand, the green sand, and I think it's green sand. Then they'll use wooden dowels for ingress and egress purposes. But when they pull the dowels out, they'll need to get in there and sort of smooth the edges out to make the casting more perfect. And that's what this tool is for. So anyway, this is pretty neat, and I initially thought it was like a painter's palette. But anyway, Bill, thank you very much for the insights on that in the background. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and we might do a little embellishment here with the handle or something. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet, but that's going to be today's video, and I don't know what order it's going to be in, but going to have some random video along the way, and then I'll follow up the finished product and some before and after pictures. Alright, so this is sort of midway through. Well, I thought I was done, but now it's midway through. I went ahead and knocked the end off. That looks pretty good, and for what I do, it's plenty sharp enough. So anyway, so that's alright. However, I did screw something up. When I was trying to get the stainless steel, I think if it has over 5% chromium or something, whatever, some certain percentage of some other metal makes it an alloy, a stainless alloy, and it doesn't mean it won't rust, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not magnetic. So yeah, it might be real stainless isn't magnetic, but you know, it's like Scout Crafter's magnetic brass. It's more marketing wank, but anyway, trying to get the rust out of the inside corner here, I just wasn't really paying attention, and the wire wheel started digging into this rubber, which is far softer than I had anticipated. The Buck lights have a real hard plastic, and you know, you want to be careful. This is just completely my mistake. It has nothing to do with the material. I'm just saying that, you know, completely just an indiscretion on my part. But anyway, I messed this up. And it still works fine. However, it doesn't snap into the holster like it should. It wants to come out a little bit too easy. So, there's two parts to this equation. One is I can either try to build this back up somehow, or perhaps I could just amend the inside of here and give that a little bit more purchase. I think my best bet is to sort of try to amend this. So let me try that and I'll bring it back. So I've got the slip tool cleaned up. I had a couple new viewers ask me about the use of the paste wax. And well, actually, let me do two things here. Talk about the paste wax and about linseed oil. So the paste wax is what I've been using for a long time. It ends up providing a relatively good finish on stuff. It keeps things in good shape. Brass usually tarnishes real fast. I did these jeweler's vise. This was months and months ago. You can see that I didn't get into the threads so well, but the rest of it has held up very well. And then I have a bunch of other tools that get used all the time, and they hold up really well. Otherwise, they end up looking like this. So the paste wax is a cheap, durable finish that I use. No doubt there's better stuff out there. I have found that in high humidity areas like here in South Florida, shellac will absorb the moisture. When I had done I forget the name brand of the sprinkler, it was a static sprinkler, not the walking one. It has started to absorb moisture and turn white. So shellac has its place, but in with tools that are going to get wet, like sprinklers for example, it's not ideal. I had said in the video where I did this vise that I was going to use the paste wax on it, and I decided against that because I was watching Alex Steele, and when his protege over there had redone their vise, they used boiled linseed oil. And I had done that once before with another set of pliers, the angle pliers. I think they were Proto. Anyway, and they've held up well, and it's only been a couple weeks, but I figure we'll give it a shot with the boiled linseed oil. It's easier to apply, and it does provide a good sheen on here. No doubt it's going to add some protective element. But with protective coatings aside, I was going to paint this, but I'm going to opt for a different technique. And I'm going to give you some time lapse of me tying a handle on this. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so there's the slip tool. What I had done is use some tarred twine. Comes in long rolls like this. This is very weather resistant, very UV resistant. I mean, even though it says tarred, it doesn't come off in your fingers, but you can feel that there's some stickiness to it, but not very much. This is wonderful stuff. Usually you use it for like crab traps and things like that, but I find for outdoor things, for trellises and things like that, for tying up your tomatoes and stuff like that, it's a great tool. It's the only detriment to it, the downside of it is that when you're using it outside, it does not deteriorate. So when you tear your garden down, you can't just like wait for it to go back to the good earth. It will get caught in your lawnmower, it'll get caught in your weed whacker, it'll get caught in anything that moves. So if you put it out there, you got to tie it up and bring it back. Otherwise you'll be dealing with it forever. But anyway, I figure we'll just add this little embellishment to it. It's pretty neat. All you do is you make a U shape with the tag end around it, and then start to cover the U back up. You sort of keep wrapping it till you get towards the loop, the bite, and then just tuck it in and pull it through. It's relatively simple. Hopefully that video sort of encapsulates what it is, but this is a great way to deal with, I don't have a lot of whipped ends and stuff around here, but that's the same thing you do with the end of a rope and whatnot. Anyway, neat little thing, and I don't know how I will use this. Obviously, I don't do any forging here, or castings, but, you know, I'll find some application for it, and I'll throw this in a tool, and this will last for a long time like this. Anyway, let me get the other tools together and bring you back. Alright, here we are. I've got a little bit different angle here because the pulley, or sheave, or whatever it is still wet. The hammerite paint really takes a long time, so anyway, we're going to let it cure, but I've got the hammer paint on the outside, black on the inside. I understand that painting the outside of something that's either drives or is driven is not particularly a good idea, but the probability of me using this thing in the near future is pretty slim. So I'm just gonna say I should paint the outside, keep the rust off of it. I've got the knife here. It's pretty sharp. I showed you cutting earlier. It worked alright. My plan to rectify this sort of changed midstream. I decided to put the epoxy here on the end to cover up where I accidentally wore off. And I decided to do that for two reasons. One, in case the other side didn't stick. And two, because there was obviously moisture getting trapped in the handle there. So I figured this might be a way to mitigate that. And when I put that little dab, when I tried to amend the inside of here, it went in fine, and then it fell off when I pulled it out. So, and then we've seen the slip tool already, so that's done. But anyway, that's going to be the conclusion of this sort of odds and ends video. And anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Have a good day.